I pre-ordered this mouse expecting to call it the biggest gimmick Logitech has ever shipped. New click technology on a 60-gram mouse when companies are pushing 80 grams? Sure. But something happened in my first aim session that I genuinely cannot explain. And after testing over 40 mice, I need to talk about this. So I got this mouse today, I pre-ordered it showed up and I was genuinely ready to tear it apart. I plugged it in, opened G-Hub and nothing. G-Hub has no idea this mouse exists. No settings, no profile, just a plain mouse sitting on my desk doing nothing special. So I had to start digging, Reddit, forums, random sites. An hour and a half later, I managed to actually find the thing that I needed to download. You have to skip G-Hub entirely and download this onboard memory setting thing, which is nowhere to find on the website. And once you're actually in there, everything they advertise is sitting there waiting for you. Haptic feedback, actuation points, rapid trigger, all of that stuff. It's just buried behind the worst first impression a mouse company could possibly give you. But okay, here's where it actually gets weird. Out of the box, this mouse has zero haptic feedback on the clicks. You press the button and it feels like you're clicking on nothing, like air. If you buy this and don't find the onboard settings, you're going to think something is wrong with your mouse. And that's a problem because what you can actually do once you dial this setting in, that changes everything. And I'm saying this after using it for a few hours, not a few weeks. That's how obvious it is. Now you could set this mouse to feel like it has no buttons. On the other hand, you can crank it up and feels like a normal stiff click. So there's a whole range in between. For me, the sweet spot landed around 1 to 2 on the left click, just enough that you know you're pressing something but it's not fighting your finger. On the right click I went full max because I want to feel my ADS. On actuation point I push it to the highest threshold because I learned from the final mouse ULX that if it's too sensitive you get misclicks constantly and it ruins everything. Rapid trigger I set the minimum on both sides. Actuation point for the firing click somewhere around 2. Now here is what I wasn't ready for. I loaded into a game with the settings and within the first few rounds something fell off. Not bad off, like something was different. I was hitting shots I don't normally hit, and not because my aim was out of the sudden better, the mouse was just keeping up with my reaction in a way nothing else has. I'd see someone for a fraction of a second, like barely a pixel peak, and before I even processed what I was looking at, my finger had already fired. My hand was reacting faster than my conscious brain. And I know exactly how that sounds. Now either something very real is happening with zero action delay at this level, or I was just experiencing the most convincing placebo in gaming peripheral history. And again, I've only had this mouse for a few hours, which makes what I'm going to tell you even harder to believe. Before today, my main mouse was G-Wool's Fairy, like 18 grams. Before that, the Zonconic M3K, 20 grams. Now I spent years chasing the lightest mouse possible to see if the lighter mouse is actually a better mouse. But after today, I think we've all been obsessing over the wrong things. Now this mouse is 62 grams. That's more than 3 times heavier than what I've been using yesterday. And to be honest, I don't really care, like at all. Whatever is happening with these clicks is doing more for my actual in-game performance than any gram I've ever shaved off a mouse. And let's be real for a second, the old GPX Superlight wasn't a bad mouse. It was never bad, it was just super overpriced for what it offered. It was basically the same shave just like with USB-C instead of micro. Now this is not that. This is the first time in a long time where a mouse company shipped something that actually changes how the mouse functions at the fundamental level. Now here's what's going to happen and I'm gonna call it right now. Every other company is going to have this. This tech is just too good to ignore. It's the same thing that happened with Rapid Trigger and Wooting. The Chinese companies will probably have their version in 1 or 2 months because that's how fast they move, and once that happens this becomes the new baseline. And I say all of this as someone who walked into today fully expecting to call this a gimmick. I wanted it to be a gimmick. It would have been a way easier video to make, but I can't sit here and tell you something is bad when it's not. And what Logitech did with these clicks is not bad at all, it's the opposite. But I'm getting ahead of myself because there's still some stuff you need to hear before you decide if this mouse is good for you or not. Now before you think I'm just glazing Logitech for 10 minutes straight, I'm not. The tech is just that impressive, but this is still day one and there are things we need to talk about. First, the good. The skates on this mouse are actually usable, and if you know me, you know that's not something I say about stock skates. Because I use a grass pad and normally the first thing I do with any mouse is to rip the stock feet off and put DOS skates because the stock ones are just like too slow or too scratchy or just not it. This time I put it on my glass pad and it just worked. Smooth, controlled, no weird sticking. Now are they the best skates I have ever used? No. But the fact that I haven't felt the need to replace them on day one is something a first for Logitech. Now the stuff that worries me, and this is important, so don't skip this part. Logitech has a history with scroll wheels. The scroll wheel issue has been a thing across multiple generations of their mice and I have zero reason to believe they magically fixed it this time. It feels fine right now, but it felt fine on the others one too. So we need a few months before I can tell you this is solved. Right now it's a question mark and I'm not going to pretend it isn't. Same thing with the new clicks. The technology is incredible on paper and in practice as well, but these are brand new switches with brand new mechanics. How do they hold up after 3 months, 6 months? Do they start to feel different? Do the actuation points drift? I don't know. Nobody knows. It's been out for a day. So anyone telling you this is the perfect mouse right now is just lying to you, including me if I said that. Now the early signs are really good, but early signs are just that. Early. Now, with all of that said, here's where I actually land with this. If you're on the old G Pro Super Lite and it's working fine, for the first time I'd actually say consider upgrading. Not because of the sensor, not because maybe you still have the micro USB, because of the click tech. Now that alone is a different experience, and I've never said that about any Logitech mouse before. And if you think weight is the only thing that actually matters, just try this mouse. I'm not saying sell your mouse, I'm saying the thing you think matters most might not be the thing that actually matters most. If you want to wait, that's the smartest move honestly, give it 2 to 3 months. See if the scroll wheels holds up, see if the clicks stay consistent. And by then the Chinese companies will probably have their version out for half the price. Now either way, the technology in this mouse is real. The launch experience was terrible, the long-term durability is unknown, but what these clicks do to your actual gameplay, I felt that in hours, not weeks. And after 40 plus mice, that means something. Now drop your current mouse and how much it weighs in the comments. I want to see how many of you would actually switch to something heavier if the tech justified it. And if you want to learn even more about mice, check out this next video.